What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I sat down with an amazing lady who helps real estate agents and entrepreneurs find their brand and market their brand and really tap into their unique superpowers that make them stand out, make them different, and help them get more business. Welcome to the show, Ruth Klein. Welcome to the show today, Ruth. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. I'm on the road today, so not in the normal studio, and appreciate you making time to come on the show and talk to our listeners, I think, about what is a very important topic for real estate agents. That is, how to brand yourself, how to be more productive. I know you focus on those areas, and really when you get to the core of it, it's like, how do you present yourself to the public in a way that shows them why you're different and why they should work with you?
Right. Very important.
So before we jump into that, why don't you give our listeners and viewers a little bit of background on who you are and how you got to this very important position of helping real estate agents stand out through their brand.
Okay. So I've been in real estate myself for over 30 years. And I truly understand the real estate side, the realtor side, the landlord side, all of that, the legal side to a certain extent. And as I continued working with clients in different industries, one of the industries that I love working with is the real estate industry with realtors, because realtors so much, they have what I call a mother lode, usually company that is the main company and they work for them, but no one really shows them how to be different, how to differentiate, and showing homes and knowing the area. That's not enough, and that's not going to cut it. So the question is, why does someone contact you and not someone else? And in my business, my line of business, it's a combination of psychology and business. And so a brand represents who you are, all of who you are at that moment in time. And a brand, I like to say, is a living entity. It changes as you change. And the moment you stop marketing you and your business and your brand, that's the day that your business you'll really feel it in your pocketbook.
Let's talk about this idea of it changing, that your brand changes as you change. And how do you juxtapose that with the need to be consistent, right?
Right. So once again, I'm thinking of right now a realtor, and she's successful, but she'd like to be more successful. And most realtors are in very competitive areas. And what we found through this process of branding is that she loves to entertain people. She loves to be with people and then go have coffee at the cutest little places and get to know them just inside out. She also, another differentiator for her is she's artistic. So when she sees a home, whether it's for a seller or a buyer, she can help them figure out where to put things, what to do, how to make slight changes without being costly. And once she recognized that those were her superpowers, Dan, in terms of how she's differentiated, her sales soared. And then she found referrals at a clip that she had not realized before. So yes, she's consistent in terms of real estate, but now she's got to be consistently hitting those, I'll call them genius zones, those areas that are differentiated. At another realtor in another highly competitive market, and believe it or not, she's a realtor, and she does not have any internal GPS. She would get lost showing places. So I had her connect with another realtor who is the back end of the business, and he would show the homes. She would introduce, she'd be the brand, she'd be the name, you'd contact her. She had an incredible way with people because she had a value, and this was her superpower. Her value was everyone is going to win in this deal. Everyone is going to win. And she was able to communicate that in a way that people trusted her. And she ended up, there were magazines, and she ended up as one of the top 3 realtors in the area, in the city, actually, in the city. But we needed more than that because now we were building a team, and she had no idea what she needed to do for the team. So we put together a value chart, and we had everyone on the team really, we dived in and we said, what's really important? What's important to your clients? What's important to the seller? What's important to the buyer? What's important to negotiation? What's important for mortgages? What's important? And then we made a list, and then we basically chose 5, and then we went to 3. And to this day, she uses my handwritten chart on the back of her door. And when business is not where it needs to be, or there is some kind of conflict with the team, they go back in her office, she shuts the door, and she shows the value sheet.
Wow. So it's really finding what you like and finding what you're good at, and then building the business around that, and then building your marketing around that.
Absolutely, because I can tell a realtor who is an extrovert some marketing strategies, and she may or may not, and he may not do it, depending on their personality. So what I do is I do what's called personality-based marketing. And so you've got to take into effect what the personality is for that realtor. The second part to that, there's so many pieces, as you can tell, it's a puzzle piece, and that's what the whole brand is. Not only do you need to know the personality of the realtor, you need to know the personality of the person you're working with. Because if you're working with someone that is more passive or shy or introverted, you give them too many facts and too much information, they're going to shut down. And if you talk too fast, they're going to shut down because they can only process a very few things, and it needs to be at a slower pace. You talk to an extrovert and you don't give them enough information and you don't stay on a clip, they're going to tune out also. So you've got to know your stuff, and you've got to know the personality of your client, and you've got to be comfortable as a realtor. You've got to learn marketing strategies and personality pieces that enhance, if you're more of an introvert, to enhance that piece of an extrovert, or you get a team member and you play off of each other.
How do you teach people to, in real time, diagnose their clients and to really figure out the approach? Like what are some of the ways that you get a real estate agent good at that?
Okay, so that's a really good question. So the first thing always is becoming aware of it, knowing what to look for. And so what I do, I just do a deep dive. I just start asking questions. And almost always the realtor will say, wow, I no one's ever asked me that, or, oh, I didn't realize that. The realtors that I was talking about, and there's another one now that I'm working with as well. And we're going to be writing an ebook because she's successful, but she has a smaller area. It's very much a niche area. And so what's going to have people hire her versus someone else? So we're going to do a marketing strategy, and she's more of an extrovert with a little bit of an introvert in her. And so I'm helping her write an ebook, which is really touching upon how she is different in written form. And this is a very popular marketing method, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. And the trick is to get it on Amazon. You want to get the ebook on Amazon. Why? Because you're going to get more eyes. And even though you're in one geographical area, you never know when people are going to move, number one. And number two, the credibility that one has when you can see that realtor's name on Amazon is very powerful.
What are most agents that you're working with? What are they writing their books on? Are these things that will help buyers, sellers, or other things?
It's how they're different. So most recently we came up with, I think, seven areas. So she knows the area really well. So most realtors know the area really well. What is it about knowing the area really well? Well, she can tell you on one street what most of the floor plans are. She can tell you, I mean, she knows that intricate. She knows that. She also is part of government. And so she knows the laws that are coming down. She knows what the zoning is. So now you get to see, wow, not only she just knows the area, that means nothing. You've got to know, you've got to be more than that. You've got to do more than that to differentiate from the other realtors that say, well, I know the area really well. That's the difference. Another difference is her negotiation skills. She can get the buyer usually 15 to 20% more. That's huge because of her negotiation skills. And she can list off clients where she's done that. A third thing she's different, a differentiator. She actually handholds her clients every step of the way, including the mortgage broker, including the mortgage people. She has a list of mortgage, as most realtors do, but she's got the mortgage brokers that are really difficult for clients, that are difficult to get to money, and she's got them lined up. She understands that not everyone is going to go through one mortgage broker because they really like you. No, it doesn't work like that. So you can start to see that you've got to delve in, and you've got to be able to become aware of who you are, what you do differently, how you do it differently, and then be able to communicate that. It's essential. It's essential.
Does the book become something that is a lead generator, or is it more of something that, you know, she gets it in the hands of a lead after they've reached out to build the credibility or an
it's
authority
all of
score?
that. It's all of that, Dan. So, for example, and what's so cool is that this is just a little tip here. You can put it on Amazon for $5.99, let's say, or $9.99. Make it some higher value, and then you give the person. You can go ahead and use a QR code with the link to the Amazon free ebook, or to the ebook. It says $9.99, but they get a coupon, they get a code, or they get it for free. All the people that they meet, anyone they talk to in that area. You know, I have an ebook that you might be interested in reading. It's about this area. And who says no to that? Let me send you a link, or if it's written, you know, QR code. And I'm going to give you a special code, and it'll be free, but I think you'll really like it. She also is very connected to the businesses in the area. So when someone comes in and a child loves acrobatics, for example, she asks them what the hobbies are, what the fun things are for the children. And then she lets them know, she connects them with potential places. People love that because all of a sudden she becomes their support. their neighborhood greeter. You know, years and years ago, we used to have neighborhood greeters. We don't have those neighborhood greeters anymore. You move into a home, you're on your own. You know, the sale and the realtor might give you a gift, and they might maybe call you to follow up how you're doing. How many realtors do that? And so another marketing strategy that's huge for realtors, you know, realtors and lawyers, they're almost identical in that their clients want to know every second of the day what's going on. They want to know what's going on. And so you've got to do follow-up. You've got to stay in contact. You've got to stay in contact. And there are different ways to stay in contact. But you don't stay in contact with someone. I mean, let's face it, they're spending a lot of money. It's probably one of the largest purchases they'll ever make in their lives. And they're going to trust you? I don't think so. They're not going to trust you unless you give them value, unless you give them reason to trust you, unless you are with them every single step of the way. And not only that, don't let them know after. Keep them updated. You know, they did studies with dentists and patients, and that's one of the leading industries where patients just freak out, myself included. And then what they found, and this is called the white coat syndrome, and whether it's a dentist or a doctor, they found that if they told the patient beforehand what they were going to do, because that wasn't the case years ago, if they told the patient beforehand what they were going to do, their anxiety level went down. So you've got to pave the road for the client, and you've got to tell them what specifically the next step is before the next step, then the next step, then the next step. And you can see that there's follow-up there. And you miss a step, and they can get upset regardless. But if you have these practices in place, it's a system, right? It's creating a system. And so you know when to check in, you know when to send an email, you know when to call, you know when to text. Let's say that, pickleball is popular these days, and someone is a tennis player. And then you might ask, well, do you like pickleball? Oh, yeah, I love pickleball. So let's say there's a club and they belong to the club, the realtor belongs to the club, and they get that real estate client a pass for the day. Now, do I feel like they're on my side? Do I feel that they're my neighborhood support? You better believe it.
How big is the effort, or how did the average real estate agent go about producing their own ebook?
Well, number one, you get someone who you can brainstorm and someone who can ask questions. You need to ask questions. And then when they give you the answers, you ask more questions. You start here and then you go like this. You want to be as specific as you can. For example, I know the area well. Big to do. What does that even mean? So you kind of have to drill down. So you literally ask the realtor, give me 6 things that make you different. Well, I'm attentive. What does that even mean? I'm attentive. I search hard for homes. What does that even mean? I search hard for homes. Does that mean you have pocket listings? Does that mean you actually talk to people and see if they want to sell their home or they're ready to buy a new home? What does that even mean? I'm really good at negotiating. What does that mean? You're good at negotiating price. You're good at negotiate what? What are you good at negotiating? A good interest rate? What are you good at? So you see what I'm saying? You ask questions and you start with, what are 5 or 6 things that make you different? And it's going to be really general, Dan, really general. They're going to be those kinds of answers. Going to be those kinds of answers. Or I work tirelessly for my client. Really? What to do? That doesn't mean a thing until you tell me what that means. Okay.
Right.
The
And then
client,
you just start to narrow down with these questions
yeah,
into more of your specific offering, and then that kind of becomes the framework for your book.
yeah, and exactly. And what is it that you love? What is it you love about real estate? That's an open question that I love to ask. What is it you love
Mhm.
about real estate? And then you've got to drill down. I want specifics. I want your personality. I want to hear deeper comments than that. Oh, I just love to show people. I love being with people. Nope, doesn't cut it. Does not cut it.
How long does it take the average agent when they decide they want to write a book, they start the ebook? How long does it take to actually get the book done
So,
and
so
published?
I'm an author. I'm an author of 7
Right.
books, and I help my clients write books and also ebooks. A book you can have in 5 months, part time, if you have a book coach who knows what they're doing and you can be accountable to them. An ebook can be written in 2 weeks. Again, if you have accountability, you have the person asking the questions, and then you start marketing it. And there are many ways to market. You can market it in your email signature, signature in your email. You can start doing, of course, in social media. But again, big deal in social media, you have an ebook. What makes that ebook special? Why does it even make it special? And so you've got to be, the more specific you can be, the more you can drill a niche down. I have a client right now who wrote a book proposal because they want a traditional publisher. And it's so general. What she does, she's saying it's good for everyone. The publisher is going to put it in file 13 and never look at it again because nothing is for everyone. And then we
Yeah,
drilled it down that it was for women, working women who have children or who don't have children. Now that's a niche. Now the publisher is going to be interested, and people that she talks to, but the women, they're going to be interested.
so in marketing and branding, it sounds like your philosophy overall, not just specific to books, is you really have to ask a lot of questions to yourself, or have someone ask you questions, and really be able to get specific on what you enjoy doing, what your strengths are, and then that becomes the niche, and you put out that kind of content or that kind of book, that kind of marketing, and like the saying goes, the riches are in the niches.
Right. And it also goes down for your advertising. The exact same thing. I get, I don't know, 20, I'm in a beach town here in Santa Monica, and I must get 20 or more cards. They're wasting their money. They're wasting their money. They show me a house. They tell me who they are. They tell me how much it is. Not one has captured my attention. Not one.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people kind of mail it in when it comes to figuring out their specific offering, or they just never like kind of take the time up front to ask themselves, how am I different?
They don't, and they don't know. I mean, it's hard to do it yourself. That's why you get an expert to help you. You get a really good friend who knows how to ask questions. And I would recommend, if you do it that way, you record the call, or you're in person, you record it. And then you listen to it again and again, because stuff will start to come up. Because I'll tell you,
Okay.
Dan, without that differentiator, everyone's going for the same pot.
Right.
And it doesn't, it's not an effective nor successful way to go.
I agree. Well, if people want to get help from you in branding or writing a book, how do they go about learning more about what you offer?
Yeah. What I would suggest is maybe they could contact me. I love Instagram.
Okay.
So it's Ruth.Klein, It's Klein, Ruth.Klein. And I'll also give you my email, rklein@ruthklein.com, and Klein is Klein again. And just put in the subject line, Dan's podcast, real estate podcast, and I'll know exactly. And what I'd like to do, Dan, is I'd like to offer your listeners a free pocket coaching audio for 30 days. So Monday through Friday, they get a pocket coaching from me, which today I talked about prioritization. And if you're in an overwhelmed state most of the time, it's because you're not prioritizing. So that was one audio. I talk about follow-up. I talk a lot about marketing. I talk a lot about mindset. I talk about book writing. And again, when you hear book writing, if you don't want to write a book, peachy keen, write the ebook, but make it a good ebook that represents you. Some people, depending on the strategy we put together, someone might charge $7 for that ebook. And that way you have their name and their email and all of that, and you can start connecting with them. Because you always, people that are interested, you want to be able to connect their names and emails. Because one thing that a lot of realtors need more of is more of a database. It's more of a database, because once you have people who've worked with you, the chance of staying connected with them, and if they move, I don't know the stat. You might know the stat, Dan, how many years someone stays at their home, but it sure isn't 30 years, the length of a mortgage.
Right. I don't, it's probably different depending on the area of the country and age and all of that. So there's probably a lot of factors. If you're getting more first-time buyers, they're probably going to be moving quicker than people that are later in life. So I think it just depends on that. But even the people that are buying their dream house, or their dream house is normally like 5 to 7 years. So
that's exactly right. And then you have what we call psychographics, what the different lifestyle generations are. So a lot of people that I know bought or built actually their dream home, and it was really big, and they had kids and all of that, and now they're downsizing. So, again, once you've spoken to someone, I was just talking to a realtor actually yesterday in the car, and she had 2 listing presentations, and in both cases, she didn't get the listing, but what she did get was the person said that she was very helpful and to keep connected with them. That is a fantastic sign. So you've got to make sure that, and I shared with her, you've got to put their name and everything, email and some notes about them into the database, and consistently stay connected.
Well, before we sign off, Ruth, I always like to do a HyperFast round of some rapid fire questions and answers, if you are ready.
Let's
All right,
do
what's your
it.
biggest piece of advice to a new real estate agent?
The biggest advice for a new real estate agent is that's where you want to find how you're different. Really important. It would be, how are you different? And then follow up, create a system, create a follow-up system, and figure out all the different weak links in a real estate deal. And make sure that you follow up during those weak links, and you have a system to let people know in advance what the next step is.
All right, what's the biggest mistake you see successful real estate agents make?
I think the biggest mistake is, I'm here in California. They I don't know if it's a mistake, but they kind of get a little uppity. And so they know they're good. They make a lot of money. And I don't think sometimes they're as thorough because of it. They're kind of, if you will, leaning on their reputation. And your reputation can only take you so far.
Right. What's something you're coaching real estate agents to do today that maybe you weren't doing as much a year ago?
It's follow-up. Definitely follow-up. People they're lost at sea in general. And now they want a home. The interest rates are high. The inventory is low. Follow up. Just stay connected with them and let them know you're still there for them. You're still looking for them, and have conversations, meet with them, not just a perfunctory text.
Are you using AI to help people accelerate their content creation?
I'm very cautious with AI. So AI has its place. AI, as far as I'm concerned, is soulless. And I think a few years from now, I think people are going to get into a lot of copyright trouble because they're using the stuff that's out there as is. However, that being said, AI does have a place. So in other words, be very specific in your prompts, see what comes up. And what I have my clients do, I have them write it first, and then put it in there and put some prompts in there, see what comes up, and then take sentences that some of those sentences are amazing, and use those sentences that hit you here. Yeah, and when you read something, you go, whoa, that is good. And you take the sentence. Do not take the whole thing. That would be my recommendation. But take sentences.
All right, last question. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Where do I see myself 5 years from now? I see myself doing exactly what I'm doing because I love it. I see myself in 5 years having written another 3 or 4 books. I already have a beautiful place overlooking the ocean, so I don't need that. I got a beautiful family. I think doing exactly what I'm doing, God willing. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show today. One more time, can you tell our listeners and viewers how they can reach out to you if they've got questions or want to do that 30-day, free pocket coaching that you offer?
Yeah. You can connect with me on Instagram, ruth.klein, Klein, or you can email me at rklein@ruthklein.com, or you can certainly go to my website, ruthklein.com.
All right, Ruth, thank you so much for being on the show today.
And thank you.
To all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you share this with other real estate agents that could benefit from hearing our lessons and what we talked about today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the HyperFast Show. If you would like to learn more about joining Carrie, Shull, and I at eXp Realty and how we can help you scale your business, keep more of your commission, become an owner in the company, and build recurring income through the revenue share program, Carrie and I would love to talk to you about being sponsored by us at eXp Realty. All you need to do is send me a text message, 703-638-4393. Again, that is 703-638-4393. It is me answering the text, by the way, and I would be honored to have that conversation with you. So please reach out again at 703-638-4393.